Hello, everybody. All right, I am live. So today is Wednesday. It's Intuitive Eating Wednesday. So I'm going to just take a second and go live on Instagram as well. Hold on. It says checking connection. Hoping some people are going to join me here. Hello, everybody. Hi, Instagram world. So it's Bonnie Giller here, and we're here for our Wednesday training. So as I said to you, if you're in my Facebook group, then you know I haven't been doing my live Wednesday trainings for a while. And if you're on Instagram, you probably missed them as well. September was a really busy month. Let me know if you're here. I always prefer to talk to you guys when you're here. So if you're here live with me, either right here on Instagram, or if you're with me on my Facebook group, my Facebook page, YouTube, I'm streaming everywhere, then totally let me know that you're here with me. Lynn, hi, how are you? Oh my gosh, Lynn, I haven't seen you in so long on my trainings and in the Facebook group. We got to catch up. I hope you're doing well. Hope everything is well at home. Good to see you here. If you're on Instagram, who's here? Let me know. We're talking about a really important topic today. So, as I said to you previously, September was a crazy busy month. I wasn't able to really stay up with my Wednesday trainings, but we're back. Lynn, you're doing well? Great. So we're back. Wednesdays, I designate as Intuitive Eating Wednesdays, which means every Wednesday at 12:15 Eastern, I come live to YouTube, Facebook, as well as Instagram. And I do a little bit of a training. We talk about intuitive eating. We talk about emotional eating, body image healing, self-care, anything related to helping you create a healthy relationship with food. Now, if you're on Instagram, you are going to see my profile quite, sometimes because I'm talking over here at my main screen to YouTube and Facebook. So I'm going to turn back and forth. So hope that works out for you. So intuitive eating. Hey, Eileen. Oh my God, Eileen is on Instagram. So glad that you're there, Eileen. So glad you're joining me. I love it when people are here with me because then we can have conversation back and forth. Okay. So let's get into it. I want to honor your time with me here and really get right to the point. And the question that we're going to be talking about today is how can you really intuitively eat for your health? So let me just start off with asking you a question. Eileen, I know you know the answer to this, but it's okay. Let's have conversation anyways, right? Were you ever told that you need to diet to improve your health? So when I say diet, I mean really focusing on weight loss, losing weight to improve your health, whether that improvement of your health be lower your blood cholesterol, whether it be lower your blood sugar levels or your blood pressure. Were you told that you have to diet to be healthy? And is that a belief that you've carried around with you for a while? So you let me know in the comments. I have to fix my comments here on my computer just a second. Oh, Liz, yay. Liz has joined through YouTube. Liz, so glad. Maybe you're on a lunch break and I'm really glad you're finding me here on this live training. Okay. So let me know. Eileen says yes, and yes. So Eileen has 3 yeses because I know that Eileen has been told that over and over again. So you guys out there on Facebook and YouTube, and if you're watching on replay, please share. Were you told that in order to be healthy, you have to lose weight? Lynn says many years ago, not your current doctor. Yeah, that's great, Lynn. And I know you've been at this work for a while. So thankfully you have found a doctor that is very much aligned with this philosophy that we have here in our group. Okay, so that's the gist of today, right? Liz says yes for PCOS and now prediabetes. Exactly, right? Same idea. You have a medical condition. So it's not just cholesterol, it's not just blood sugar levels, it's not just blood pressure, but if you have any condition such as PCOS or even prediabetes, you're told lose weight because hey, that's going to be your answer to everything. Well, I know Liz and Eileen and Lynn, they know that is not the answer, because we've been working together for a while. But if you're out there and this is new to you, let me know what you think. Let me know what you've been told. Let me know what dilemma you're in right now. Because here's the thing, dieting for your quote unquote health actually does way more harm than good to your body and to your relationship with food. I want you to think about that for just a second. Thinking about all the years that you've dieted in order to be healthy, where has that gotten you? Probably not to the status of health that you've been looking for or that everybody has promised you, meaning everybody, the doctors, the diets, and so forth. There are many, many studies out there that actually show us that if you deprioritize weight loss, so we don't prioritize weight loss as the main treatment goal, right? If you deprioritize, let me say that again, if you deprioritize weight loss in place of other indicators of well-being, well, you experience better overall health then. So what we really need to do is just take that pursuing of weight loss, or I should say intentional weight loss, off the table, because it just doesn't work for your health. Let's take a look at really why. What are the negative impacts of dieting on your health? So when we go through these things, again, if you've been with me for a while, you can share in the comments your own personal experience with this. I would love that. And if you're new to this, then also please post your thoughts, your comments, and your experiences. So what I'm going to do is share with you, number one, the side effects of dieting and how it actually makes your health worse. Number one is the rebound weight gain that happens. The weight regain, I guess I should say, is that happens. So this statistic is likely not new to you, but yeah, 95 to 97% of people who intentionally lose weight through dieting and restriction will regain that weight. Dieting equals restriction, which is unsustainable. That weight loss is generally unsustainable, because here's the thing: the moment you restrict any kind of specific food or food groups, again, in the name of health, doesn't matter, okay? The moment you do that, you cause your body to crave it and to want it even more. And when we crave it and want it even more, at some point, that level of deprivation becomes too much for you to handle. And what happens? The rebound eating and then the regaining of the weight, right? So the second then that your diet is over, you're going to be binging on these foods, because you know what? That restriction, well, that was really a lot for you to be restricted of foods that maybe are even your favorite foods, right? You regain that weight. That weight that you've regained now will impact your health. So let me take a drink. Hold on. How does that happen? So what we know and what we see is that people who weight cycling means you lose, you gain, you lose, you gain. Those who weight cycle, number one, they generally will regain more than they've lost. So up to 2/3 of people actually regain more weight. Well, what has been shown is that that impacts your health more than if you would just stay at a stable, higher weight. See what I mean? So if you lose that weight, regain that weight, lose that weight again, regain that weight with a little extra, and then do that again, all of those times, you're actually putting more stress on your body, on your heart, and it increases your risk of heart disease and early death. So that right there shows you how dieting for health is actually more harmful than staying at that elevated or higher body weight. Lynn says dieting or restriction has never worked for me. And Lynn, you're not alone. Dieting and restriction likely hasn't worked for, again, 95 to 97 of the people. Now, you might say, Bonnie, I know someone who's lost weight on a diet and they've kept it off. And I'm not going to say there aren't some of those people out there, but they're few and far between. And 3 to 5% of those people who do, guess what? They're not living a life of freedom, of food freedom. They are often engaging in destructive, disordered eating habits and behaviors. And we can talk about that another time. So the second negative effect of dieting that ends up impacting your health, right? So again, why does dieting for health, why is that actually a lie that you're being told? Is that it causes food obsession and disordered eating. And there's many different types of disordered eating. We can go from disordered eating behaviors, or we can go to actual clinical eating disorders. So there are various forms of disordered eating and eating disorders that dieting and long-term dieting actually cause. And so the bottom line is, dieting is damaging your relationship with food and your relationship with your body. You are intentionally restricting your intake. And when that is done for a long enough period of time, there's a certain message that gets sent to your brain. And that is, I'm starving. I need food. Please feed me. And that is your body, your brain really trying to keep you alive. Basically, your brain is monitoring the energy needs of your body throughout the day, and it gives you signals to say, hey, you know what, your fuel is your energy needs are dipped low, you got to refuel. But if you don't refuel and then you lose weight, your weight drops below your natural set point, your brain is on high alert and say, oh, something's going on here. I got to increase her hunger signals. I've got to slow her metabolism down because I've got to get her weight back to what is her natural set point weight. So, in the end of the day, you're going to be obsessing about food from all of this diet. You're going to end up in this disordered eating arena of some form or fashion. How severe it varies based on the individual and a lot of other factors. And then you're going to end up with the overeating slash binge eating. And what happens in that case is now you're eating all these foods that you say, you see, Bonnie, they're not good for my health, right? Because what are we binging on? Let's face it. Put in the comments when you were dieting and restricting, and then you ended that diet in a binge. What kind of foods was that on? What kind of foods were you ending up binging on? I'm going to look. Let me see what you're writing. Because I'm sure it's not, an apple, right? It's not salad. It's not chicken. It's not rice, brown rice. It's not. It's generally cake or cookies or donuts or chocolate or ice cream or foods that you have restricted. Now, if you've restricted these foods and now you're binge eating on them, what ends up happening? So, yeah, you're going to see your blood sugars go up. Maybe your cholesterol is going to go up. And then you're going to say, you see, I can't eat these foods. Well, no, those numbers went up because you were overeating slash binging on these foods. So Liz says sweets and higher carb foods. Exactly. Lynn says tortilla chips with cheese, ice cream, candy, cookies. Right, exactly, right? So what ends up happening is that, yeah, maybe the numbers are going up, your labs are going up, right? Because you're binging eating on these and feeling really guilt and shame and frustration, and just remorse and all of these kinds of feelings. So it's impacting your health, but it's all coming from what was the beginning point of this restriction. Restriction is the number one predictor for, you can fill in the sentence, binge eating. Okay, when you binge eat on these foods over and over again, sure, those foods are going to impact your numbers, but that's not the way we eat those foods. We only eat those foods in that manner, in that forceful or binge or numb state when we've been restricting, or we view those foods as bad. Eileen says sugar-laden foods like cake and ice cream, right? So the goal is to learn how to eat these foods within the context of an overall well-balanced type of eating plan to nourish yourself. And when you do it that way, and again, that's intuitively, it's not going to negatively impact your labs, your numbers, your blood sugar, and so forth. Okay, so you've got these signals. The brain is saying, hey, Liz, Lynn, Eileen, whoever else is watching, your energy, your cells are dipping in energy. You need some fuel, but you choose to ignore these signals, right? Why? You choose to ignore these signals because you said the diet tells me I can't eat this food or I can't eat now. It's not the right time to eat. But then you become obsessed with that food or you become obsessed with eating, right? And then at the end of the day, you just break down. So again, your body, your brain is trying to keep you surviving, right? It's a biological survival mechanism that's really preventing you from starving yourself. And you cannot fight biology. So if you end up binge eating, if you end up, have all these cravings and things, and you say, you see, Bonnie, I really can't eat these foods. No, this is just your body, your biology saying, listen, you've been restricting these foods and you need to eat. And then when you end up throwing in the towel, right? You eventually cave and you eat, but it's typically, because of that initial deprivation. So it's a mindset as well, right? So that's the food deprivation. The food causes the food obsession, and that negatively impacts your health. So dieting for health, no, not a good thing. The third piece of this puzzle is that if you consistently diet for your health, which we know you're dieting to lose the weight. We know that. then what happens is you lose the ability to detect your hunger and your fullness signals. So why does that happen? Well, dieting really forces you to rely on external cues. External cues such as food rules, diet plans, maybe a certain number of calories you're counting, points, the scale, whatever. And that is therefore teaching you to ignore your own natural biological signals that actually are there to help you detect hunger, fullness, and satisfaction. So when this is kept up for long periods of time, this can result, in either undereating in certain cases. Like I just got off the phone with somebody who now doesn't hear any of her cues, and so she's actually, she doesn't know when to eat, overeating in many situations, or just again that food obsession, right? So relying on any of these external cues causes you to lose touch with when you feel hungry, when you feel full, when you feel satisfied, because you're really allowing some external devices or forces to really, quote unquote, control that for you. So it's really interesting because I was just speaking with a client this morning working on intuitive eating, excuse me, and she's shared with me that she is really afraid to stop eating when she feels content and comfortably full. And when we uncovered and we dug deep into this, what did we discover? Is that she doesn't trust herself. And that's really the gist of all of this, right? There's a lack of trust because there's been a disconnection from your body. And that lack of trust really is preventing her from saying, you know what, I do feel content with this meal, so I'm okay to stop right now. So she feels that she needs to know the serving size, because the serving size, if she would eat the serving size that she is told to eat, then that she believes then that would be enough for her. Again, that's disconnecting her from actually feeling her signals. And so we have to, it's not easy, guys. I get it. We can work on this together, but it's really learning to reconnect with your body, your signals, and then once you hear them, to trust them. And there's no need to rely on those serving sizes. And that's where we come into this concept of really intuitive eating, right? Learning and attuning to your intuitive signal, to your signals. And then that next piece is being able to trust. We'll talk more about trust at some point. Um, so let's say, for example, you're counting calories, right? So what happens? You're counting calories throughout the day, again, to be healthy. The doctor said, or the app said, to keep it to X amount of calories. And you sort of like, you're going a long day, but you've used up your calories. It's still, not time to go to sleep, and you feel a little hungry. What are you going to do? So go back, think about when you were dieting. And if you're with me and you're still sort of playing with diets, or you were dieting, let me know. What would you do? You used up your calories, you used up your points, you used up your serving sizes you're supposed to have, whatever it was. What happens when you feel hungry? What did you used to do? I'm really curious. What did you used to do? Because generally, so definitely share in the comments, okay? So this is interactive. Because generally you're either going to stay hungry because no, it's not time to eat. I can't eat. I used up my calories, I used up my points, I used up my numbers of servings or whatever. So you're gonna stay hungry, or you're going to end up having something to eat because you're gonna be like, oh, I'm so hungry, I have to eat, and then you're gonna really be hard on yourself, and you're gonna bash yourself, and you're gonna be upset with yourself. Eileen says, have a cup of coffee. Okay, so that's really interesting, right? Because by doing that, by having a cup of coffee, you're actually trying to trick your body. So the coffee isn't nourishment, right? So that's exactly what you would have done. So that harms you even more. That harms you even more. Liz says, drink water, white knuckle it, through it, or just eat like crazy. There you go. You got all the options right there, Liz shares. Lynn, I would eat and feel like I messed up. Exactly. Exactly, right? So here's the thing, all this dieting for your health is really impacting you so negatively. Oh, Eileen says, and I stay hungry. Right. And that's no good. That is no good, because not only does that negatively impact your physical health, but your mental health as well. Because you end up feeling like, oh, I'm so hungry. Now, when you feel so hungry, is that comfortable? Think about a time when you were walking around and you were really hungry. Was that comfortable for you? Most of the time it's not. It doesn't feel good to be hungry. right? And so what happens is all this dieting and all the feelings of hunger, when you can't feed that hunger because the diet doesn't tell you to, right? You end up with this profound fear of being hungry. There's this psychological fear, and that will get you every time. And don't forget, if you are disconnected from these signals and you're not using them, then you're going to lose them. And then the work is about reigniting those signals again. Okay, so here's another side effect of dieting and how it could negatively impact your health, and where eating intuitively really can help your health is that it slows your metabolism down. It slows your metabolism down. Generally, when you're restricting, when you're dieting, you're typically eliminating foods, eliminating food groups and so forth, right? Restricting your calories and so on. And so generally, you're not meeting your needs. You're not meeting your needs. Liz, what do you say? No, I often get headaches when I get really hungry. You get headaches when you get really hungry. Okay. And that probably also, Liz, has to do with your blood sugar levels also. So when you're not eating enough calories and you're not feeding your body, you're not giving it what it needs. Remember, the brain has a job and the brain is trying to keep you alive. So when you're not giving it, what happens? The body takes what you are giving it and it stores it. And so it slows down your metabolism and slows down what? Your metabolic rate. Now, in addition to that, when you don't get enough calories in, enough energy, remember, what is a calorie? An unit of energy provided by food. We have to take back the word calories from diet culture. It's not a bad word. So when you're not fueling your body enough, the body is forced to get the fuel from other sources. So it's breaking down muscle to be used for energy. Now you have a lower muscle mass, which also slows down your metabolism. Okay? So it allows your body. So when you have a lower muscle mass and you have a slowed metabolism, it allows your body to become better at storing the energy, the calories, fat, and more efficient at using less energy even after you've come off that restriction and that diet. So at the end of the day, you're impacting your health in that way. And then, of course, we have to talk about the negative emotions when the diets fail. Now, let me remind you, you have not failed. It's the diets that have failed you. Please remember that, okay? But when your quote unquote diet doesn't work and you can't keep up with the unrealistic expectations of this diet plan, you feel shame, guilt, anxiety, like failure, and any other emotion that you feel. You can pop into the comment, how do you feel when you've been there, done that, went on the diet, didn't last, and now what do you feel? And guess what happens? This happens over and over again. It causes you stress, right? How many of you, and if you're on replay, please come and answer this important question. When you have been calorie counting or point tracking or any dieting at all, whatever that diet looked for you, and you went on and you went off and you yo-yoed up and down, did you feel stress? Did it give you anxiety? Because for the most part, it does. For most people, we see it in the research. And what happens with that stress? Chronic stress. When you're chronically dieting, you have chronic stress, and that increases your cortisol levels, which impacts your blood sugar levels, which impacts your insulin sensitivity, which impacts your heart health, your muscles, your bones, and so forth, right? Elevated cortisol, slow your system at all times due to the stress, impacts your health in a negative fashion. So I spent these few minutes showing you how dieting for health, quote unquote, dieting for health. And we know when we say dieting, the focus is on weight loss. Lose the weight and you'll be healthy. I'm showing you all this time, I'm showing you how that actually is the opposite that happens. Eileen says, yes, a lot of anxiety and stress failed again. Right. So the bottom line with this piece is that diets cause harm physically and mentally. So the question is, what do you do? If diets don't work, but you're told to diet to lose weight for your health, You're kind of between a rock and a hard place. What do? That's when you really learn to eat intuitively for your health. Now, how do you do that? How do you do that? First step. It's not about eat this way. No, it's not about that. Because the first step is working on your mind. The first step is to commit to never diet again. I know Lynn and Liz and Eileen have made that commitment. I don't know who else is on here with me. Pop a comment, let me know who is, or hit replay when you're on replay, hashtag replay and tell me. But that's the first step to never diet again. Because if there is any little inkling in your brain that, but maybe I should try this. Maybe this is not a diet. This is a lifestyle, right? That's what these jobs like to advertise as lifestyle, as wellness. They're just sneaky diets, okay? It's in disguise, diets in disguise. Then if you have any inkling that you're still going to do that, you're not going to be able to move forward to learn to eat intuitively. Now, what does that mean to eat intuitively for your health? So intuitive eating or eating intuitively means you eat based on those cues I'm talking about. You eat based on your physiological need to eat. Your body says to you, oh, I'm hungry. My energy need. Remember I said the brain is giving you these messages. Your energy is are low. The cells have like low energy. Got to fuel. Well, then there's that hunger signal that's triggered. It's okay, I'm going to eat. And it tells you when you've had enough to stop, right? Here's the problem. If you've been dieting for a lot of years, guess what? It's not always easy, number one, to feel hunger, to feel fullness. Number two, even if you do, it's hard to trust. Remember that example I told you of this client? And so we've got to work on that mindset by never dieting again, but also tackling the fears that come up for you of never dieting again, because there are a lot of fears associated with that. I get it. We've talked before about the fears. We'll definitely touch on that again at some point. But ultimately, the idea is to be able to first kind of dismantle all those diet culture messages and beliefs that are holding you back before you can really learn to attune to hunger and fullness. Otherwise, learning to eat intuitively for your health becomes another diet, the hunger fullness diet, the intuitive eating diet. And a lot of people do fall into that, right? Ultimately, here's what I can tell you. If you give up restriction forever, you will improve your health. And you may say, I don't understand that. That's not possible. And I'm going to tell you a story. I'm working with an 82-year-old female. Now, she allows me to share the story with you. Her name is Carolyn. She's dieting since she's 7 years old. Now, if you do the math, that's 75 years. Okay? She has had disordered eating and has been chronically dieting for 75 years. Just take a moment to digest that. She came to see me because she went to her doctor and her blood sugar levels were up, her cholesterol was up, and he sent her to me. So when we got on our call, our Zoom call, she naturally assumed I was going to give her a diet. But after talking with her and learning about her history of dieting and disordered eating, did I feel a diet was going to be the right thing for her? Well, I don't think diets are right for anybody. And I shared that with her. And I introduced her to the concept of intuitive eating, which was very new, never heard of it. But once I just talked to her about the concept, it was like her face lit up. Like, you're not going to tell me I can't eat this and this and this. You're not going to give me a diet that I have to follow, a menu I have to track and everything. And I said, nope. We are going to work on your mindset. We are going to work on reigniting those signals. We are going to work on the emotional piece. We are going to work on the cognitive distortions that diet culture has created. And guess what? We have been. And she just told me last week she got the results of her recent blood work, and her blood sugar levels, her cholesterol, everything, all her labs are within the target range. And not once did she get on a scale. Not once did she weigh and measure food. but she's making so many changes in her relationship with food. It's an amazing story, and I'm just so thrilled. And I want you to know that you can do that too. So pop some questions. What do you think of that story I just shared about Carolyn? Let me know. Let me know. Because if you're dealing with health issues, whether it's blood sugar, whether it's cholesterol, whether it's blood pressure, whether it's PCOS, whether it's prediabetes, whether it's anything, we can use intuitive eating to learn how to treat these conditions and help you become healthier. Now, I am going to share with you. So we're kind of running out of time today, but because I like to stay on time, and these sessions are about 30 minutes, so we're a little bit over. But what I'm going to do is ask you, have you signed up for my webinar next Tuesday, the 12th? Because that's when I'm going to give you the 3 steps to eat for healthy living, using the intuitive eating blueprint. So I want you to please be on that webinar. It's going to be next Tuesday. It's not going to be Wednesday. We'll still meet on Wednesday for our Wednesday training, where I'm going to be available to answer any questions you have on the webinar. But we're going to meet on Zoom. So if you join me live on the webinar and you feel like you don't have to come on camera, but you can, you will have an opportunity to talk to me and I'll be able to coach you. And that's all for free. So you just have to register at brghealth.com/intuitive eating blueprint. Hey, Lynn, would you mind if you post a comment for me? I know you're at your computer keyboard because you're writing a comment. If you can just type that link in for everybody, I would so appreciate it. Lynn or Liz, www.brghealth.com/intuitive eating blueprint. So just join me there, because I really want to see you in person. I love these Facebook Lives, but I don't get to see your smiling faces. So I would love that opportunity. And I'm going to give you the 3 steps that you need to get started to eat, learning how to eat intuitively. So for your health, because you absolutely can. You absolutely can. Okay. So let's get you guys on that webinar with me. And I'm going to go through those steps and answer your questions. Okay. I have so many more stories to share with you, but we are running out of time. So let me just open this up right now for any questions. Hey, Lynn, thank you so much. The link, Lynn just posted the link for you guys. Hey, Eileen, if you're on Instagram, maybe you can type it in for the Instagram folks. www.brghealth.com/intuitive eating blueprint. It's going to be great. I'm giving you those 3 steps. You're going to get started with them and you're going to see how you can get results like Caroline. Anybody have any questions? Is there any questions that I can answer for you? And by the way, Liz, just so you know, the November module for the Intuitive Nutrition Circle, better known as the In Circle, that's my monthly membership program. The November module is all about intuitive eating with blood sugar management. So stay tuned for that. Okay. Hey, Lynn, you should join us in the circle. Message me if you want more information on that. Okay, so that's all I have for you today. How to eat intuitively for your health starts with the mindset, starts with commitment to no longer dieting, because we've got to work on the mindset so that intuitive eating doesn't become another diet, hunger and fullness diet. If you just joined me, then go back to the beginning of this session and re-listen to it. Or if you're here and you want to listen again, that's great too. And just make sure that you all join me next week on Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern. I did make it later, so people who work might be able to join me live. And share it with your friends. If you would help me spread the word, copy that link that Lynn put in and put it on your Facebook page, send it to your friends, let people know who have been, no, Eileen, that's the wrong link. It's the wrong link, Eileen. It's brghealth.com/intuitive eating blueprint. That's okay, honey. I'll put it in there after. It's hard to type on a phone, I think. If you know of any people that might be able to benefit from the information I will be sharing on Tuesday, I'd appreciate you helping me get the message out, trying to reach a whole lot more people. So copy and paste that link and send it to your friends. That would be awesome. And I greatly appreciate it. So the schedule is as follows. It's okay, Eileen, don't worry about it. Can you just delete that comment so people don't go to the wrong link? Yeah, so here's what's coming up for you guys. Okay, so today is the 6th. Just so you all know what we're doing. Today's the 6th. And then on Tuesday, we meet at 5 o'clock for the webinar, 5 p.m. Eastern, but you have to sign up and I will send the replay out. And then Wednesday, the 13th, we're going to have our Intuitive Eating Wednesday, same time, 12:15 Eastern. And then it's possible I'm going to do another bonus session maybe the following week. I don't know. We'll see. But in the meantime, that's what you want to put on your calendar. Okay. So listen, guys, here's the thing. Anybody who tells you you got to diet to be healthy, you've got to diet / lose weight to be healthy. At the end of the day, that impacts your health worse, both medical, both physical, both mental, right? Go back to the beginning of this session, learn about all the reasons how and why, and then how you can learn to eat intuitively for your health. I'm going to outline the 3 steps that you need on Tuesday. So I thought this was a great beginning. And that's it for now. I'm going to take a break before I get to my afternoon clients. Oh, wait, hold on. I see something from Lynn. I'm going to take a minute to read this. Lynn says, my cholesterol went up while on cholesterol meds on labs a couple of weeks ago. Went up? I don't know what you said there. Went on. My doctor asked about if anything changed. I realized I had been eating high-fat foods more the last few months or so. She said to follow a low-fat diet, but not giving me a specific diet, just to eat less high-fat foods. Yeah. So here's the thing. Eileen, hang if you want it, or I'll be ending soon. Here's the thing, Lynn. If you've been eating more quote unquote high fat foods, the question you need to ask yourself is, how have I been eating those foods? Has there been an emotional component to them? Has there been mindlessness to that? Right. So you got to look at that, the how piece of that as well. But when you learn to neutralize all foods and you learn to incorporate gentle nutrition into the intuitiveness, then you'll be able to eat some of those foods. This doctor doesn't necessarily know that you've had a history of chronic dieting. And they also don't know what that means. They often will throw out, go follow a low fat diet. Like, okay, can you give me more specifics? And by the way, do you know that I have a history of chronic dieting and disordered eating and binge eating? They often don't bother to ask you those questions or to know. So for you, Lynn, the answer really is what I just shared with you as far as Carolyn goes. There are some other things that have to be really addressed, mindset, emotions, and so forth. And you will see that when you work on the belief system, the cognitive distortions, the emotions, that cholesterol is going to come down without following any diet. I could assure you of that. All right. I appreciate you sharing that. Okay. That's all I have time for today. Please come back and listen and post any questions. I'm happy to come back later to answer them all. I'd stay longer if I could, but unfortunately, I have to run. I will see you on Tuesday at the webinar. Please, please be there with me. I like talking to people, so be there with me, okay? I think about that. Okay, Lynn. brghealth.com/intuitive eating blueprint, free webinar about eating intuitively for your health next week on Tuesday. All right, I'll share the link again, but I hope to see you there. Have a wonderful day. And thank you so much for joining me. Bye.